everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Mercy and I'm back with a very special video. So I have begun a Black Love series for the month of February because it is Black History Month and it also is the month where love is celebrated. And so I thought what better way to, honor that than to share my platform with married couples in the Black community to give their love story and their journey to marriage and finding love. So I hope you guys enjoy this series. It was very touching and encouraging to me, and I wasn't even expecting, to be so encouraged. So I know it's going to bless and encourage you. And I just want to shed light that it is possible to have a healthy and godly marriage in the Black community. And so I hope that you are encouraged by this series, and I hope you stay tuned to the end because they're going to give some really great advice to singles who are seeking marriage as well. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next clip. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Mercy and I'm back here with another special video. Today I have some new friends with me. Y'all go ahead and introduce yourselves.
My name is Jamon Henry.
And I'm Naomi Henry.
All right, so tell us what you do,
Okay, so starting off with me, I'm currently a vet tech right now, and I'm currently in school to pursue dental hygiene.
Yes, period.
Okay, and I work for a construction company. I'm a personal and administrative assistant there. So.
All right, so y'all two are obviously married. They share the same last name. So tell us how your love story began, and let's get into it.
So I'll go first. We pretty much ran into each other, cross paths at a party. I used to assist with help with promoting Orlando Carnival. So there was always parties, and this is 2019, March. 2019, March. I was at a party with a group of friends. And I was in a previous relationship, so I wasn't dancing with anybody or anything of that nature. And I just saw him and a group of his friends just getting closer and closer to my group of friends. And I just moved away, and another girl started dancing with him. And they exchanged information like social media. And we encountered each other 2 more times after that at another party and then at another club. But it wasn't us talking to each other. It was just oh, hey. And we just kept it moving because I was in a relationship at that time and he was living his best life. And it was just whatever. It was just hey, kept it moving. And then he saw my Instagram, I was getting birthday shout outs, and he saw me on Instagram and off of someone's story, and he followed me from that shout out and just started liking all my pictures and stuff. And I just saw it and I was just okay. And I just at that time I was used to a lot of people liking my pictures and stuff on Instagram. So I was just I was a little thing. So I just put my phone away, and then later on in December, I was cuddling with a puppy after surgery, and I posted it on social media. I posted it on my story, and he DM'd me and was "Are you a veterinarian?" And I was no, I'm a nurse for the veterinarian. And he was just oh, cool, because I have this, that's real nice, because I have this dog. And he sent me a picture of his dog, but as a puppy. He didn't show me how big the dog was at that time. Mm-hmm. He just showed me a picture of her as a puppy, and she was the cutest little thing ever. She had this little stupid ear standing up and one folded down, and I was just this is so cute. So I started talking to him about that. And I was if he ever needs help with a dog, he can ask me any questions. I was used to people talking to me all the time about it.
You actually gotta go a little bit. Well, she don't know this part. Well, she know now because I told her, but
yeah,
I think it was that when I follow her, I had plans on going to UCF homecoming, which was that November, and I was I was talking to another one of my boys, and I was yo, are you going to UCF homecoming? And he was like, I don't know, I might be. And I was like, well, if you do go, let me know, because I got this girl down there that I'm trying to see, like, if she gonna be at homecoming or not. And he was like, bruh, like.
And
you was the girl.
I was the girl.
She was the girl, yeah. I sent him a,
You have to explain where you were.
I believe I was in Daytona still. Because, I was I went to school in Daytona, so I was still there in Daytona. I had just graduated from college, and I was back and forth between Daytona and Orlando. But and he was living here in Orlando, so he was just like, yo, bro, like, well, if you do, just let me know. We can pull up and, see if she out there. He was like, there's gonna be a whole bunch of debauchery, so don't be surprised. And I was like, okay. I'm not trying to be in all of that, but I was like, but we'll see how it go. So anyway, I sent it to him, and he was just asking me, like, if I had already talked to her. I was like, nah, I haven't talked to her yet, so it was low-key a little creepish. But
he was stalking me.
A little stalking.
He was stalking me, but he didn't realize that we met like 3 times before, in passing.
I didn't remember.
Like, I literally have a video of one of the this girl I used to be friends with dancing on him, and my hand was in between them, like, on my phone, and I showed him. I was like, is this, like, when we got together later on, I showed it to him. I was like, this is you. My hand is there, her butt's there. Like, this is you in the video. And he was just like, oh my God. That's when everything clicked to him. Like, I was her. I was around her.
She was literally right next
there.
to him.
Like, and when she introduced him to me, I was just like, oh, hey. Like, I didn't even pay him any mind. I was just like, yeah, like another fraternity boy. Ooh. Like.
So what drew you to her? Like, why were you so intrigued?
So I think I was just sitting on Instagram, and then of course, I'm like, she's attractive, so I was followed her on Instagram, and I was like, okay, is she dating anybody? I don't know. I didn't see anybody on the page, so I was just like, I might as well like all the pictures, and if she respond, then I don't know. But I didn't get a response, but I was just like, it's all good. So like, I just like gave it time. I ended up not going to UCF homecoming, so I really wasn't too stressed about going there. But when she did post the story with the dog, I was looking at it, and I was just like, oh, she's cute. She really is cute. She was like smiling while she was looking at the dog. I was like, she got a real pretty smile too. I was like, this is probably like a dope time to just like say something, because I know she just posted this on her story, so that's when I sent her the DM.
Yeah, and just as like and in between then, like the summer from when he followed me to when he reached out to me, I was single. I ended that previous relationship like in the summertime prior to all of that, so I was single and just like minding my business, and he was stalking me the whole time, and I didn't even know.
It was crazy, but we ended up talking. I mean, after I did DM her, and we talked. Like, I think that first day, like, we was on the phone for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
Like, literally like 8 hours. I think she had to go to work the next day, didn't you?
I did, because the night before I was applying to be a bottle service girl in downtown Orlando, and I was like, I had like a halter top, I had like, and my tummy was showing, I had my jeans, and I had heels on, and I was walking in the middle of downtown by myself, walking back to my car, and this guy just kept like following me and talking to me. So I literally grabbed my phone, I text him like, I'm gonna give you a call soon, and I called him as I was walking to my car, and I was like explaining what I was wearing and where I was like, just in case something happens, this is where I am and everything, like, this is I just need to be on the phone with somebody just in case as I'm walking to my car. And he was just like, okay.
Yeah, because I was actually,
it's our first time talking to each other.
I was living by myself. I had moved down South Florida, because I had got a job down there. So I was like, just talking to her. I didn't really have anything going on when I got down there and started work. So when she hit me up and said that, I was like, I didn't expect her to say that like so soon, but she was like, don't be surprised if I call you just to, listen to me while I'm going to my car and make sure I'm good. I was like, no, I got you. Like, you good. Just call me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be here. I don't really got nothing going on. So she ended up calling me, and like we stayed on the phone all night. Like I don't even. We talked about so much stuff. Like I don't even really remember, but we was on the phone all night. But I felt bad the next day because I didn't even know that she had to go to work. Like we got off the phone at like 6 o'clock in the morning. You had to be to work at like
8.
Like 8 o'clock.
So I only got like. I didn't even get really like 2 hours of sleep because by the time we got off the phone, I was already getting up to get ready for work. And we were still on the phone as I was driving to work. And then when I went on lunch, and then when I got home, I was still talking to him. It was like 2 days of us just nonstop talking on the phone. And ever since then, it's like he never...
Just every day.
Yeah, like we never left each other alone after that. And I feel like what really solidified his attraction to me was my taste in music because when we were just like getting to know each other and stuff like that, literally that first conversation, I sent him an artist named Sego, and I sent him that.
You sent me like 4 playlists.
I sent you playlists, but I told you because I was shocked you didn't know who Masego was.
Yeah.
I was like,
so good.
So good.
Yeah.
Underrated.
So good.
So nice to talk about it.
No, so I was just like, I was shocked because that album, Lady, was so good. I was like, you have to listen to it because you can literally feel every instrument, every song, and like the vibe was like immaculate at that time because all the other nonsense that was out on the radio. I was like, this is pure music, and I was just like, you really need to listen to this. And as someone who plays instruments himself, I was like, you would really appreciate this man. So I sent it to him, and he was just like, okay, so this is the first song. This is the first artist she's put me on to. Like, okay, so she has like good taste in music.
That was a big thing. I've been in music since I was in 6th grade, so since like 2006.
Wow.
That's when I started playing. I originally started playing snare drum in the band, and then percussion was like one big thing at first, and then my band director ended up taking me off and putting me on trumpet. So I played trumpet for like 14 years. So I was just real big on music for like ever since 6th grade all the way until I ended up getting a scholarship to college for it. So like music was just real big with me. So when she sent me the playlist and everything, and I'm listening to it, I'm just like, yo, this is like dope for real. So, but we always had like music to talk about. That was just like a big thing with us. We just always like connected with music, and of course like the spiritual part as well. Like I was real deep at that time because I was staying by myself, and I don't know what it was, but like God just wouldn't let me like venture out. Like when it came to like any other woman or like anything like that, like I was like really coming home, going to work, going to the gym every day. Like I never really stepped outside of that. So like I just would be home and I would pray a lot. I was reading the Bible a lot more, like because I found myself kind of like rebelling, I guess you could say, or just kind of like rejecting all the truth I knew growing up because I'm a PK, so everybody know how that goes when you're a PK, and it's not easy.
For the people that don't know what PKs
For people that don't know what PKs are, that means you're a preacher's kid. So my granddad was a pastor. Both my granddads were pastors, and my dad became a pastor when I was in 6th grade. So it was, it was like, and my grandmother was a pastor too. So it was just like all over the place. So like, it was just a lot of, I don't know. That was a tough day for me growing up. So like when I got on my own, I just kind of did my own thing. I wasn't really going to church like that in college. I would visit every now and then, but I just started doing my own thing. And then once I graduated and moved down south by myself, it's like God was just starting to work on me, and he was just like you need to change some things, like about yourself, like your heart, like how you treat people, like how you are in your relationships. If we be honest, I wasn't always like the best person, most honest person in relationships, but I knew as God worked on me, I knew what I needed to change in order to like really make something work. So like God dealt with me like a lot. So like by the time I met her, I was like, okay, God, like I can't mess this up. Like I can't mess this one up. Like you done got me here by myself talking to me, and like now you've sent me somebody else. I'm like, all right, I can't mess this up. So when she came, I was just like, it was just time to like do the right thing at that point. So Yeah.
That's amazing. So that was really preparing you to be a husband.
Yeah,
You didn't even know.
I had no idea because I
It's
was
even-
so far away from it.
Yeah, it's even crazy because before he DM'd me, I took a trip to New York with my best friend, and I can say like just that year of being in that past relationship and it wasn't healthy. We broke up. It's like I want to say it's like I kind of went kind of crazy. It was like I'm gonna live my best life, and I just did what I wanted to do, and I felt like out of touch with myself because growing up, like even my younger friends, the friends I was with that when I was like younger, like elementary, middle school, high school, they can all tell you that I used to just randomly say it when they were all doing like they were just all being like young and just being out there and having like sex and stuff like that. They would just say to me like, well, why aren't you doing stuff? And I'm just like, because my body is a temple. And I used to literally like say no, like I don't want anybody touching me. I don't want anybody doing this to me. Like I had standards for myself, and after that relationship, it's like it all went out the window, and I lost. I was like not in tune with myself like I used to, and at the time I was like I was into astrology, I was like into crystals, I was like saging, and I was like, higher self, like, let's do, let's get ready for the new moon, let me go sage every corner in the house. I was into all of that stuff, and I had just moved away from home, so I thought I knew what I was doing, and I lost touch with myself. Like, I literally felt like I went crazy that year, and of course, I was smoking weed too and stuff. I just really felt like I was not in tune, and I sat down, like I was in the shower in New York, and I was bawling, crying. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. My best friend's sleeping in the hotel room, and I'm just like bawling, crying. So I felt like disgusted with myself because I was like, if my younger self saw who I am today, would I be proud of myself? And it's like I had my younger self like say to me in my head like, I'm not pleased with you. Like, this version of you is not who we wanted to be in life. Who do you think you are? I was like pretty much checking myself in the shower. And I've had encounters throughout my life that were spiritual, good and bad. And I thought to myself like, okay, well, at this point, I have to acknowledge it. Like I was in the shower, bawling, crying. And I just said, like I did a silent prayer. Like as I was at my lowest, I was at my lowest, and I just said, like, God, if you're real, do something, because I did all of this on my own, and obviously my life isn't getting any better. I'm lost. I'm confused. I'm cold. I feel dirty. Like I don't feel like I don't feel like the woman that you instilled in me. I don't even feel like a woman. I feel like a little girl. Like I don't feel mature. I don't feel like a temple. Like my body is a temple. Like I used to say, like I treasured myself so much and I lost it all. And I was like, what happened? So I'm just going through all of that in the shower and I'm just praying, and that time I was just, to me, it wasn't praying. It was just like pleading with somebody to do something. So I gave it all up to him. And like 3 days later, he DMs me on Instagram because in the middle of that prayer, I said, like, God, like, please don't bring anyone into my life that will no longer like serve me. Like, if my next relationship, please bring someone that will bring me closer to you and your word. And next thing you know, 3 days later, he was like, are you a veterinarian? I was just like, no, I'm not a veterinarian. I'm a nurse for like animals. And ever since then, it's just, we've been attached ever since then. So it was divine intervention for the both of us, because we both were not at the same time. Like we even talked about it, like around the same time I felt like I was going crazy. He felt like he was going crazy too. And it's just like once we came together and we met, it was just like a breath of like fresh air, and we just had to work through like all of our differences because the devil was working on me. And the Lord gave him so much patience, like, just keep working on her. And I was I'm an independent black woman who don't need nobody. You not my daddy, don't tell me what I can and cannot say, what I can and cannot do. Who are you? This is not your apartment. Like, I was very much like, don't tell me I can't burn incense. You came here. This is like, it was very much like
that was
a
the
battle.
mentality.
Yeah, it was a battle in the beginning because it was hard. I never been with somebody that I had to compromise for. It was like my way or the highway. And to be honest, it's like, he's the most serious relationship I ever been in, period. But relationship wise, it's only been 2. The previous one and him. And he's my last. So, yeah.
So, yeah, you unpacked a lot, and we talked about it on camera, but I just wanted to say it on camera because what she said was very weighty. Like, when you said when you surrendered it to God, that's when this man came along 3 days later. And it's about the 3 days. Because you know Jesus was real. The 3 days, okay? But yeah, like, I generally feel like when we confess our weakness and we confess where we are at, like, currently, that's when God can come in and cover our situation. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So now I want y'all to take us through, like, what was your first meeting, like your first date, and then how did your relationship progress, like, and the challenges, because he was a PK, you were like, you had background in Christianity, right?
No,
you didn't?
girl, I could have passed as I told people I was agnostic, but there were times where I could have passed as an atheist. Because I was very much science over everything.
Wow.
Logic over everything. I can't see it, I don't believe it. I was very much that growing up, like watching Ancient Aliens and the History Channel for fun. Because, yeah.
That's amazing. These are 2 polar opposites coming
Polar
together.
opposites coming together.
God's gonna do his work, okay?
Yeah.
So yeah, take us through like your first time meeting and like the challenges you face, like being a PK and somebody who's new to the faith. Like, how did that work, and what challenges did that present as y'all came together?
So I'll start. So yeah, that was a lot, man. Like, trying to work through that. I mean, like, even that first year, like when we were, after we started talking and everything, and I think for that first year, like, I was like mad dedicated to like visiting her like every single weekend, like in 2020, I think it was, like I don't think it was probably 2 weekends I didn't drive down to see you because you came to me.
I came to you.
Yeah. Every single weekend, and it was just like crazy how much I was going down there. But even in that process, it was just like
from Jacksonville
to Orlando, and I started to notice like the difference and everything like that. And it's not that I was just like it was always there. Like, I mean, God was just working on me from when I was staying by myself, and I was kind of going back to everything she was saying. I feel like had I not been in a place to submit to like God, I feel like that would have never worked, because I would have never been there to like listen to him, to know like where he needed me to be in order for this to, be something. And even during that time, like, I knew that she wasn't there. And even like in our first conversations, I would be talking to her about like God, and she'll be like, she'll agree. It's not that she's disagreeing, but she's just like, yeah, like, I believe that you'll, help me get there, one day. But, I believe that the moon will align us. And I'm like, yo, you missing the point, bro. But I still told myself, for God, I'm just like, you know what? There is nobody that God cannot save. I just truly believe that.
Amen.
But it was something, I don't know, I'm going to be real. Like, it was something about her, though, that I was just like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like whatever it is that you're doing isn't really who you are. Like,
wow.
Like, I could see through it. And I don't know what it was that God was helping me to, like, see, but, like, I could see through it. And it was just like, God wants to get to you. Like, I could feel it, and I don't know what it was. So, like, I told myself every day I was going to pray for her. Like, every day. If it's 365 days in a year, I probably prayed for 320. Give or take on days I probably just forgot, but I prayed for her every day, every morning on the way to work. Like, I made sure it was something. Like, I made sure, like, I was like, I'm gonna pray until God like makes something happen. So, like, I would come down, and like, even on Sundays, and well, let's clear the air first. I was staying on the weekends. No, it was not the right thing to do, because we were not married.
He was staying in my apartment.
I would come down and visit and stay. We don't, recommend that you do that if you are not married. It will bring problems that you don't want. Problems that you do not want. So we don't endorse that at all. But in those times, I would just feel this consistent like guilt about it, because like I know it's wrong, but at the same time I'm like, but God, you like helping me to help her. So I'm like, I don't get it. Like I don't know. So like I would just keep praying about it, and I think it was like one day, like even on Sundays during the weekends that I would be down there, I would still like watch a church service. Like on Sunday, I'll wake up Sunday mornings, and she'll just like walk in, and I'm just in the living room looking at like a church service on my phone or something like that and reading the Bible.
Your dad?
And yeah, it would be my dad's service or whoever I'm watching for that morning. But it was one day she came out of the room, and I think I was on the patio that day, and you were like, can I sit with you? And I was like, what? I was like, I'm watching church, right? like I'm watching church. But she sat with me, and like she like listened to the service and stuff like that, and that kind of like did something for me. And I was like, okay, God, like, is this you? Like, now I'm starting to kind of like see like why I'm praying. I'm like, okay, so maybe he's getting to her. So like I made it like a thing. Like every Sunday I came down, like I made sure like I was reading the Bible and I was watching church, like so she could see it, and not only just doing that, like, but truly like trying to like grow as a person, like, and that she can see it. Like, I'm like, God, like I need your fruits to show through me, that you can like use me as a vessel to like help bring her closer to you. Like, it's just like I just felt like her soul needed that guidance, and like I feel like the Holy Spirit was there to like help, bring her to God, bring her to Christ. And that was like a big thing, because we battled for a while with like, once we like started to like, we did like a counseling one time, didn't we? There was like a counseling that we did
with your cousin's pastor.
Yeah, like with the pastor, and he was just like, where y'all stay at? It's like, so y'all know y'all can't be doing that, right? We were just like,
in my defense, I didn't know. Because
I mean, she didn't know, but you did tell me that you still had like this feeling in you that knew, like,
yeah, I knew there was a point, like, okay,
full disclosure, we did not wait.
I think they.
Yeah, I mean,
we did wait. And,
okay, so
yeah,
that was great.
Yeah.
Hey.
So it was my fault for that, but so from my perspective, like when we first met, like our first interaction with each other and everything, it was like I told him like he was moving from Fort Myers back to Jacksonville for like his job transferred him to the Jacksonville location. So he left Fort Myers and he was going to do the drive like that same night. And I was like, why don't you just stop in Orlando to come visit me anyway? Like you have to pass Orlando to get to Jacksonville. So that's what he did. And that first night I was like so nervous. I was like, how should I have my hair? Like, what should I wear? Like, we're not going anywhere, right? So I was just like, okay, we're just gonna hang out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have my 2 cats. I was like, see, you like my cats. He knew I had cats, but I'm like, he's gonna meet them. Like, I hope he doesn't like kick them or something.
Yeah, I wasn't a cat person.
He wasn't a cat person at all. And so I was just like, oh, so I cleaned my apartment like when he was there. I just got out of the shower. I was like, okay, I smell pretty. And then like he was there and he was just like at his car for the long. He texted me, he's like, I'm outside. And then I was like, okay.
Well, I was at my car for a long time because I was mad embarrassed that I had my whole life in my backseat.
And I didn't care.
My entire life. And it's not like I had tinted windows. I was in a Jetta with no tint on my windows. And you just saw my whole life in the backseat, the front seat, the trunk. And I'm like, oh my
But babe, you were moving.
No, I know I was, but it was just like, dang.
Like, whatever. So he gets there and he's taking forever to get out the car. And then I was just like, let me just waddle over there. So I just got out of the house and I walked to his car in the parking lot, and it's like he was like hiding behind the trunk, like trying to calm his nerves. It's like I could tell, and then like he saw me, and he was just like, it's his face that registered like, dang, she's short. And I was just like, hey. And like I went and like we hugged each other. We didn't kiss. We just hugged each other, and then I was like, bring your stuff inside. Like we're like on Woodbury, like near Waterford. I was like, somebody's definitely gonna break into your car because there was like a homeless issue in that area. So I was like, bring your stuff inside. So it was like practically kind of like moved in for the weekend, and we hung out. And our first date was at Disney Springs. We went to Bubble Gump, and we sat down, had a very detailed conversation there. Muffin will go into detail about it. And we just were getting used to like knowing each other and stuff like that. And he helped me find that apartment that he was talking about, how he was praying on the balcony. And we were having a lot of tit for tat because I was still burning incense and I would still burn sage like after I cleaned the house, and he's just sitting there like,
I literally told her, I was like, I saw her doing it.
Like watching me as I walk around, like he's like looking at me like,
bro, I saw her doing it and I was like, you know you're not going to need that for long, right? She was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, you're not going to need that for long. I didn't tell her to stop, but I was just like, you're not going to keep doing that for long.
Yeah, he just kept mentioning it, and it kept like it was something was irritating my my spirit. I was just like, first of all, like, you're not gonna come into my space and tell me what I can and cannot. You know, it was like one of those, and I was just like, I've seen smudging throughout my life. Like, I'm Haitian, so I've seen smudging being done in the home, like whenever relatives will have like a bad dream or something, or like they had a bad feeling, they would start smudging the house and leave the windows closed and then open it like so it can air out later. And I seen it my whole life, so I didn't think anything was wrong with it. So just smudging sage, I didn't think anything of it either. And then it's like he was afraid to say things to me because I was quick to like snap at him. And it was like a work in progress too, because I used to sound like Khloe Kardashian when I talked. I was cursing every 2 seconds, and he was just like, it's not necessary. And I was just like, so now you're trying to change. I was just like breaking my neck every time he would say something to me. It was just like an exorcist was happening. Like, who are you talking to? Like, it was very much like that. And he would just be like he would take a lot of deep breaths.
That's mainly because I knew what I was dealing with.
He was
and I was just like,
the spirit
Lord,
that was in me.
I'm like, Lord,
yeah,
you got me here for a reason, and like, she not getting it.
Yeah.
And I need you to help her to get it because I'm getting mad.
Yeah.
Like that she's not understanding what I'm trying to say.
And it's so funny because he just kept saying, like, you don't even understand. Like, I changed for this relationship. And I was like, I don't see no change. Like, you know, I was like picking at him to trying to get him to like be toxic like I was used to. And he just was like not giving in. And he'll just be like, I don't care. You can be mad at me all you want. I ain't leaving. And I was just like, wow, you're annoying. Like, I was just really upset, like, in the very beginning of our relationship, because I was like, he fine and everything, but you trying to change me as a person. I don't like that. Like, I was very much like, I don't like that. And it was a whole lot to like get past, like, but I don't know, just one day he just kept telling me like, well, if you're serious about what you prayed for, because I told him what I prayed about in the shower in New York, and he's like, well, if you're serious about it, then you need to start watching sermons. Like, if you're serious about it, you really need to start reading the Bible, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you. And like, he'll just say stuff like that to me, and like my spirit would just be like aggravated. Like, it would just be like something is like churning inside of me, like, and that was all the devil trying to confuse me and trying to convince me, don't do it. Don't do it. He's trying to change you. He's not trying to do the better. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, damn, he's trying to do the better, like trying to make you better. He's trying to do what's best for you. He's trying to introduce you to what's best. And I was just telling him, like, I miss my old friends that I used to party and do drugs with. Not drugs, but like weed. Like, I'm trying to, I used to like, I miss that environment. And he was just like, you'll be fine. Like, he did not want to hear anything he said, like, I wanted to say. He's like, you can make me friends. And I was like, no. And when I would tell my old friends, like, the people I used to hang out with, like, what he was doing, like, oh, he doesn't want me to curse, so I'm watching how I curse, like, I'm trying not to curse anymore. And they're like, girl, he trying to change you. That don't even sound like you. That's not the Naomi I know. Da, da, da. And I'm just like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, that's not, you don't even really know me. You just know this partying version of me. And you're telling me that's not the Naomi you know. That don't even sound right. Me not cursing doesn't sound right. And I was just like, ugh. Like, so it started like, and then I started looking at their life and I was just like, this is who I'm surrounding myself with. Like, Naomi, you're not getting any younger. You need to start reevaluating your priorities, like who you are. Like, would your younger self be proud of who you are? Because I was very much like a bookworm. I was very much a bookworm, stayed to myself most of the time, and I carried myself like with dignity. And to look at myself then, I was just like, this is a stark difference. And I was like, he's trying to get me back to who I used to be, like, who are you? But back then I was atheist. And I just grew up in a Haitian household. I'm sorry, it's just like I'm jumping, but it all ties in together. Like, he's trying to get me to be who my younger self would be proud of. But at the same time, I wasn't spiritually inclined when I was younger. My dad tried to take me, I was from Miami, 305. My dad tried to take us to church like on Easter in Little Haiti. And there was a church called Notre Dame in Little Haiti, and you had to bring your own chair because there were so many people. It was so many people that would come to the church on that day, and the church would be so packed that it's out in the lawn, and they had speakers outside, and the preacher just yelling, trying to get to everybody in the back that's in their lawn chairs. And my mom was like, absolutely not. There's mosquitoes, there's ants outside. I'm staying home. My kids are not going to be sitting in the sun and smelling like outside. So my dad just stopped trying to take us to church. And we would go to church every now and then with like relatives and stuff, and friends. But I would be in the back sleep as a child. I was never like exposed to it properly. They would be speaking in Creole. I don't know what's happening. Like, I didn't know. So I would just get spiritual signs like every now and then. Like, something weird would happen to me where I'm just like, that wasn't coincidence, but I'm gonna brush it off. Or like, it was just so many things, and it was just, you can't really explain it. So it was just not logically possible for that to happen without somebody knowing what's happening inside my head, like what I just said, and now boom, it just happened in front of me. Or like a piece of jewelry that broke and that was given to me by someone that was toxic. It broke. Next thing you know, that person caused harm to me that day. It was just so much, like, I was getting a lot of divine intervention, and I never like acknowledged God growing up. Instead, I acknowledged science, and I acknowledged logic. I acknowledge realism. I acknowledge astrology. I acknowledge horoscopes. I acknowledge crystals. I acknowledge like smudging, all these witchcraft things. I acknowledged voodoo. Like it was just like I acknowledged it all, and I never gave thought to like there is a God and there's only one true God. Like I never acknowledged it. It never came out of my mouth that way. It was always like, I mean, there's a higher presence, there's a higher being, but like Joseph, Mary had a little lamb. I don't believe in all of that. That was how I used to say things, and now it's just like I can't even think to say anything like that because it's just proven time and time again that Jesus Christ is my savior. Like he really did change me for the better and listened to my prayers and what I needed and brought the right people into our lives. And it was just, we prayed a lot, and I started watching like Transformation Church just to get in. That's a good starter church because it's very easy to learn from. And because my first experience in church was he took me to his daddy church. He's American from Jacksonville.
Baptist.
I grew up Baptist. And then Pentecostal.
Yeah.
I think my dad, he's more non-denomination, Baptist, Pentecostal. It was all a mix of everything. Right. So
yeah, his dad took me to that church. Lord, I didn't know. His dad is such a big teddy bear to me, and he always be like, "Hi, daughter," and I'm like, "Hi," like, give me a hug. Like when he first met me, his dad already called me daughter. And his mom was like, "Oh, I have such a pretty daughter," and I was like, "I don't even know y'all like that." Like it was offsetting to me because I didn't grow up in a very affectionate family. So here they are trying to touch me and stuff, and I'm like, "Oh yeah," like I'm like trying to act like I'm comfortable, and I wasn't, but everyone's complimenting me, and I'm like, I'm feeling overstimulated. And he was just he warned me before he got there. Like he's like, "This is what's gonna happen." And then as soon as we opened the door, "Hey," and I was like, "Oh," like I'm so used to being like introverted, and he took me to church, child.
Yeah. But yeah, man, she came to my dad's church and everything, and
it just was a shocker.
It was definitely a shock. And that reminded me even like when our first date when we went to Bubblegum, like this how I knew like, okay, something gotta happen because we got our food, we having like this long conversation and everything, and like before we eat, I'm like, okay, I'm sitting at the table and I'm like, all right, we finna bless the food. I'll reach my hand out. I'm like,
she ain't grab it.
She ain't grabbing my hand. She like, what are you doing? Like, well, then I'm like, I'm finna bless the food. Like, what are you doing? What am I doing? And she was like, I don't know what that is. And I was like, bruh, like,
we're gonna do that on Thanksgiving.
I'm like, God, we really got some work to do for real. She don't even know what grace is, like blessing the food.
We only do that on Thanksgiving.
That was crazy to me, man. But God is good, and He has brought her a very long way. A very, very long way. Now, I eat without saying grace, and she be about to like hit me in my face for not doing it because it happens, man. But yeah, I mean, I'm just glad that God brought her as far as He did, and even me as well. And I mean, it's just as time went on, we just kind of like knew like, okay, everything that we're doing, we got to work through. You know, like God is our foundation, and He'll get us through everything that we're going through. And we went through a lot, but I feel like it ultimately brought us closer together. And around like everybody would always ask me like after like the first year and a half, everybody was like, yo, like when y'all gonna do that? And I'm like, well, we'll get there, we'll get there. And at the time we actually wasn't in church like that, because we were just watching church online. But that's when we found New Life. And when we came to church.
Through a referral.
Yeah, we referred to New Life, and when we got here, I actually joined the men's ministry, and that's where it all went down. Like that's where they got to me, man, and got in there, and like I was like one of the only single people in the men's ministry, and we're all young, and I'm like, dang, I'm the only person not married or not engaged. It's two others that weren't married either, but they were just like, man, you need to go ahead and do that, man. And they would just talk to me and talk to me and talk to me, and I was like, I don't know, man, I'm gonna do it, And during the time I was at men's ministry, she was actually with the wives of those men, and they were talking to her, so I'm like, dang, like God is working on me and her like in different spaces. So like I don't know, like he just molded it. Like I don't know, like he worked on her, he worked on me, and like we did premarital counseling, and like we weren't gonna get married immediately, but we knew it was something that was gonna happen. But
somebody paid for our counseling session.
Yeah, somebody paid for our counseling session.
Anonymously.
Yeah, we don't even know.
We don't know who did it.
It was crazy. But we went ahead and did it, and it was a blessing. But before that, I mean, I knew we had to get engaged and everything, so I'm just like, I got to get all this together. And I think I planned that out for like months before it actually happened. And I took her to this garden. It was like, what do they call it? Like botanical gardens,
yeah,
sculpture garden. Yeah, I took her there.
In Winter Park.
Yeah, Winter Park. I took her there, and I actually got her family to come and my family to come here without her knowing. And that was like the most stressful week of my entire life, trying to get them here. And it was stressful, man. But I got my boy. What happened?
I said men are not playing with my nature. So.
Hey, it is what it is, man. But I made it happen, though. I made it happen, though.
You did good.
So I did. I got my boy to record us and take videos of us and pictures.
Because it was our
dating
1 year anniversary dating.
So I got him to take videos and pictures while our families were hidden in the back of the garden. Yeah. So like it was like a point where we were like recording. We had the music playing out there to just kind of like add to the environment, and like her parents and my parents, like everybody kind of like snuck up as we were recording like this final shot of us. And she heard like my family in the background creeping up. She heard the grass and turned around and saw them and just like broke down crying. It was
like
crazy.
Broke my ankle and everything. Like I didn't break my ankle, but my heel gave out, and I was like,
It was crazy. And then by the time she turned back around, that's when I was like taking a knee and everything.
And I was just like, oh my God.
It was a lot, man. But fast forward, I mean, like we went through our premarital counseling, which we definitely recommend for anybody on that path. Like premarital counseling is it. That's the way to go. Please do it. It will drastically help your marriage, like in the beginning and just going forward. So we definitely recommend that, man. But we went ahead and did it, man. And after our counseling, I think it was like what, 4 or 5 weeks, and then like literally like that. Like a month later, we kind of like planned it out, and like a month later we got married.
April 16th.
Yeah, we got married.
2022?
2022. Yeah.
We coming up on a year.
Yeah, almost a year. Yeah.
It's all even numbers. I didn't think about that.
Dang, I love your testimony. That talks to the power of community. Just like y'all coming into the men and the women's. We didn't have the women's ministry at that point, but it still was like.
Yeah, like God orchestrated that to still happen. That's crazy.
Because like even when we first started dating, like literally our first month into talking, he was just staring at me and I was just talking to him and he was just like, I'm gonna marry you. And I was like, red flag. You don't even know my middle name yet. And you're talking about like marriage. And he was just like, that's fine, I'm gonna marry you.
To be fair, I wanted to do exactly what my dad did. He did that exact thing with my mom. They were at like a party and like he was getting a haircut at a party. I don't know why, it was the 80s. I don't know what they had going on. But he was getting a haircut and then they like left and went in a car and like they were just having a conversation, and my dad told my mom like that same night, like, I don't know what it is, but like I'm gonna marry you. Like he said it and it happened. And I was just like, dang, like what if I could do that? And then I did, and it's just like, you did it, man. So I was just like, yo, you mean it, you say it, you gotta stick to what you say. So
You did just that. You know, man with intention.
Child. It was strong. It was strong.
I feel like that's the presence of God right now.
Yeah.
it is, man.
So I want y'all to give some advice to our single people who are seeking marriage or who, you know, are just ready for that next step. Like, what advice would you give them?
My first thing, I mean, I'll just give like 2 points. I mean, definitely communicate where you are in life. Like when you first start talking, like just really communicate where you are in life, like spiritually, mentally, like just communicate that. Don't be afraid to be honest with each other. It's hard these days, but just don't be afraid to be honest. And number 2, don't move in together before you get married. We really don't advise you do that. Like do it the right way. Find a church home, go to church together, and just seek God together. Like just be in true courtship. Like I feel like that's like the way to go. Like for real. Like just do it the right way. You know.
That's good.
And for me, I would say like, if there's any areas that you know that you need to work on before getting into a serious and committed relationship, try to handle that baggage before coming into the marriage, not marriage, oh Lord, before coming into before coming into the courtship, because you never, like, if you bring that, it can weigh you down, and it can affect your partner as well, because your partner would think something's wrong with them when really it's just you, that was a trigger for you and you never healed from that. And there's nothing wrong with your partner, it's just you never healed from it, and so you don't know how to communicate properly with your partner, like what you need or how they can help you grow past it, until your partner literally identifies it with you, and that's when you're like, oh, well, yeah, maybe I should have, you know. And that's one thing I would say is try to heal before trying to get into a committed relationship with someone, because if you don't love yourself, how are you going to love someone else?
That's true.
That is good. Ooh. Thank you guys so much for joining me.
Of
Thank
course,
you.
Of course. Thanks for having us.
Of course. That's all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.
See ya.
Bye.